So here it is, the Helion Pro, a collaboration between iFlight and 2-row aerials. This is the successor of the quite popular Helion 10. And this drone is set to improve a very popular product, the Helion 10, by introducing some minor changes and some quite significant ones as well. The number one thing that you will notice on the Helion Pro straight away is the new improved shell design. The Helion Pro now looks a lot more like the Spectre 7, so they're definitely trying to unify their designs, and the shell is definitely the biggest proof for that. Previously on the Helion 10 you couldn't open the shell without first removing the antennas, and also you had to unscrew a couple of screws to get to the electronics. Now on the Helion Pro, all you need to do is press on both sides of the shell and it will pop up, giving you access to everything. It's so much easier. It's still a 10-inch frame design with a dead cat orientation and 418mm wheelbase, but the drone is now far more optimized for stability and even easier maintenance. Of course, the drone comes with the 04 Air Unit Pro, which offers a significant quality increase, better range and stabilization. Both the Helion 10 and the Helion Pro use similar flight controllers and ESCs, however the tune of the Pro model is far more optimized for the 04 Air Unit Pro, and it is a little bit more refined. Finally, the Pro is also about 120 grams heavier than the Helion 10, coming up at about 1070 grams without a battery. Now this is all great, but nobody really cares about those stats. I'm sure you're mostly curious about how does this drone fly and how does it perform. Well, let me show you. Alright, here we go. Helion 10 Pro in the mountains in Romania. I have to say the conditions here change so much, it's ridiculous. It's impossible to plan anything when you want to film. It's just, you have to go with the flow. So right now we'll just cruise a bit to get to the top of this hill, and already I can feel like the gust of wind around me is quite strong. We are locked at 60 megabits though. We're still quite close, so nothing to worry about, even though I would hate to go and try to retrieve the drone if I crash here, but so far so good. The sun and the shade are constantly changing, so you cannot even decide what ND filter to put on. It's quite impossible. I don't even want to go fast, I just want to cruise around these rocks. And I need to be careful because rocks are just impossible to deal with when it comes to signal, so you have to have direct visibility, and the wind is so strong, it's pushing the drone around, even though it's so powerful, but it's pushing it around quite a bit to the right, so I have to compensate. Let's just dive here. Wow, so nice. Just need to be super careful with those power lines here. Wow, the noise that this drone makes, it's just crazy. It sounds like an absolute jet. I really love it. All of my friends said that this is one spectacular looking drone. It's really impressive, and let me tell you, it's super impressive in the wind as well. What's not impressive though is my battery life, because it absolutely sucks, because I've killed this battery completely, and it just sucks when it comes to flying for a long time. Ooh, this is a very nice place to be, but I'm not sure if I'll have good signal here. Just go back, and here is just like super impressive to dive around those trees. that's me. Those are my friends here with the cars. A few thoughts on the Helion 10 Pro after flying with it a couple of times. First of all, the look of this drone, I have to say, I'm a massive fan of the redesign of the Helion 10 Pro versus the original Helion 10. Now this shell design is a lot more usable and user-friendly, so now you can easily just pull it up with those two little buttons on the side and actually work on your drone and do whatever you want with the electronics, because you have access to them and the shell stays open. It doesn't close by itself. It's not dangling on some cables. It's just those cables for the lights. This is how it should have been from day one on the first drone. Now it's actually a lot more usable. This also looks incredible. All of my friends said that this is one spectacular looking drone, and I have to agree with them because it's just super sexy and it looks badass. It looks like a battleship, and it flies absolutely beautifully. Now, the thing with those huge 10-inch drones is that they are a pain in the ass to carry around with you because they take so much space, especially when you put the props on. This is hard to transport, especially if you don't want to remove the props, if you don't want to remove the antennas, if you maybe keep the battery on the bottom like I am doing right now for easier transportation or for easier setup. When you get to your destination and you just want to fly, you can just put the battery cable and turn it on, and it gets GPS signal quite fast, which is great. You have a lot more accessibility for the ports. Everything is easy to get to. Maybe the USB-C port on the 04 Air Unit Pro is not as accessible as I would have loved. It's a little bit hard to access and to put the actual cable inside the port. Maybe that's my little complaint, that it's a little bit too further inside the shell and it's not that easy to access. Whereas the USB-C port for the flight controller is super easy to access, and it's actually protruding out of the drone a little bit. So that's great. When it comes to the front, like the camera, you already know the 04 Air Unit Pro is a beast. I haven't had the need to attach an actual action camera on top of the drone, because why would I add additional weight on the drone unless I want to have different frame rate or something really specific that the 04 Air Unit Pro cannot give me. But for those couple of first flights, I haven't had the need to attach an additional weight with an action camera on top. So for now, I'm a big fan. I love the look and how it lights up, all the different lights and all the different, LEDs that make this look so badass. This really makes it a whole experience, just turning on the drone and just enjoying it for what it is. I might have to say that this is quite expensive, which is another small or big negative depending on how you look at it. If you want to spend that much money for having this absolute beast of a drone at your disposal, I would personally say that this is a great purchase. If you're thinking about it, I think it's highly recommended to at least give it a go. If you have some friends that have this drone, you might want to try it out first, just to see the smoothness, because these winds here where I am in the mountains are so unpredictable and they're so different depending on what altitude you are flying at. So here at ground level, which is still super high altitude, you have some wind, but when you go 200-300 meters above this area, it gets so strong, and this drone gets pushed around a little bit, but I cannot imagine what a regular drone would have been in those scenarios, because it's crazy when you're flying in those diverse situations. This is a drone that has to be used for long range. It has to be used properly to actually maximize the usage out of it, in a way that you fly in those conditions, you fly with a very high speed, which this drone can do easily. You attach a big battery on it, and then it gets super heavy. That's the thing about these drones. They get super heavy, but they still fly absolutely beautifully. That's my kind of first impression of the drone. I don't want to call it a review because it's not really a review, since I've only flown this a couple of times, and I've only flown it here in the mountains where the conditions are, yes, they are different, but because we are so high up in the mountains, the air is also quite thin, so the drone flies in that way. When I go back home, where I'm a lot closer to the sea and a lot closer to an altitude of about 100 meters, for example, above sea level, then the drone will fly a lot more differently. So for now, these are my first impressions. The Helion 10 Pro is an absolute beast. I don't think it's a surprise for anyone to say that this drone is fantastic. Maybe the biggest drawbacks for this drone are the price and the huge battery that you have to use, but that goes for all of these big drones. You have to put an enormously big battery so you can take advantage of how these drones are supposed to be flown. But for now, this is everything I have for you from today's video. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Let me know what you think about the Helion 10 Pro down in the comments below, and I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say. Never stop flying, and I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Ciao.